Tonight, General Firestorm. New revelations: the highest-ranking officer in the U.S. sent a warning to China over former President Trump.
There's a plague coming over from China. Here it comes. What a disgrace.
And a lawyer and gymnast, the first to accuse U.S. Gymnastics Dr. Larry Nassar of abuse, offers her prayer.
That you may someday experience true repentance and true forgiveness from God.
Plus, Hurricane Nicholas, now a storm crawling from New Orleans to Florida. The flash flood threat in a region still reeling from Ida. All this and more tonight on Faith Nation.
Amid accusations of treason and treachery, President Biden stands by the nation's top general. Welcome to Faith Nation. I'm John Jessup.
Good evening. I'm Jenna Browder. A soon-to-be-released book claiming Joint Chiefs Chairman General Mark Milley sidestepped President Trump. Milley twice reassuring his Chinese counterparts that then-President Trump would not launch a military strike during his final days in office.
The bombshell revelations are leading some in the GOP to call for Milley to be fired. CBN national security correspondent Caitlin Burke joins us now from the White House with tonight's top story. Caitlin.
So we know that Senator Marco Rubio has already given Biden a letter requesting that Milley be dismissed immediately. There have also been other calls for his resignation. The White House, however, expressing confidence in Milley and wanting to focus more on the mental state of former President Donald Trump during that time frame than the actions of the general.
The outgoing president of the United States during this period of time fomented unrest, leading to an insurrection and an attack on our nation's capital on January 6th. There's been widespread reporting and commentary from members of his own cabinet, the former president's cabinet, I should say, including high-ranking national security officials, questioning the former president's stability, his behavior, and his suitability to oversee the national security of the United States.
This firestorm was all set off by excerpts from the soon-to-be-released book Peril by Bob Woodward and Robert Costa. The authors claim Milley reviewed intelligence that China was concerned by chaos in the United States, specifically surrounding the election and the January 6th Capitol attack. According to the excerpt released Tuesday, Milley went behind the back of the commander-in-chief to reassure his Chinese military counterpart, quote, "We are 100% steady. Everything's fine, but democracy can be sloppy sometimes." Two separate phone calls between Milley and Beijing were reported. The general allegedly feeling the need to assure China, quote, "If we're going to attack, I'm going to call you ahead of time." Woodward and Costa also claim they've received the transcript of a call between General Milley and Nancy Pelosi following the January 6th attack. Pelosi was reportedly concerned that Trump was both unstable and dangerous. Milley is then said to have held a meeting at the Pentagon, telling military leadership that they were not to act on any order from Trump to use nuclear weapons without his sign-off. "No matter what you are told, you do the procedure," Milley told them. "You do the process, and I'm part of that procedure." Milley then reportedly looked everyone in the eye and asked each one of them to say they agreed.
You have the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, a military leader, basically ignoring the Constitution, deciding he's going to call a potential adversary and an enemy of the United States and collude with them and tell them, if I'm ever ordered to do something, I'm going to tell you about it first, and also break the chain of command when it comes to the nuclear codes of this country and its control.
The general, meanwhile, is defending the actions he took. His spokesman addressing both the phone calls and the meeting with military leaders in a written statement, saying Milley acted within his authority in order to, quote, "maintain strategic stability." Now, the White House has dismissed concerns that we're hearing from Rubio and other Republican lawmakers. Press Secretary Jen Psaki saying the president, quote, "isn't looking for guidance from members of Congress who stood by while the president of the United States and the leader of their party fomented an insurrection." John and Jenna?
All right, national security correspondent Caitlin Burke at the White House. Thank you, Caitlin. And we will hear directly from General Milley himself in the next 2 weeks when He goes before the Senate Armed Services Committee. That will be on September 28th. For more on all of this, we're going to be joined by CBN Chief Political Analyst David Brody. David, we keep hearing if this is true regarding these allegations against General Milley. Today, as Caitlin just reported, the spokesperson for Milley did not specifically refute these claims, but did say he acted within his authority. David, how much weight are you giving the reporting from this new book from Bob Woodward and Bob Costa?
Well, a lot of people are concentrating on Woodward and Costa, and to a degree, you might say that Bob Woodward kind of peaked during Watergate, and since then, he wrote quite a few books trashing President Trump pretty much overall. So, you're not quite sure how much you can put stock in what Woodward is saying here, though Costa's along with him. We know Bob Costa. But look, the fact that the Milley camp, if you will, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs and the whole apparatus there is defending the comments. I mean, I think that's all you need to say. So this idea of if it was true, we're not quite sure if it is or not, but Milley's folks are not saying it's not true. They're defending his comments and defending the actions. And so, you just look at that, you say to yourself, well, it sounds like Milley was leaking it. He leaked it to Costa and Woodward. And if it is true, and if Milley's not going to back down from these comments, then Ruby and others may have a point. Now, the word treason is a very, very dicey word, okay? If you look up treason in the Constitution, you know what it carries. You guys know it's not just imprisonment, it's the death penalty. So you got to be very careful with the word treason. But this is the where we're at right now. And that's, once again, a very dangerous word to throw around just kind of willy-nilly.
Yeah. David, how much of this situation with General Milley reflects on the Biden administration? There's new polling from Quinnipiac that shows the president's overall approval rating slipping to just 42%. Only 34% approve of his foreign policy. That's down 10 points from August. Your thoughts, David?
Yeah, well, listen, I guess, could I potentially pat myself on the back? Sorry, I know it's a narcissistic thing to do. If I did, I'd probably get makeup on my jacket. But look, the bottom line is, the fact that what I said a few weeks ago about Afghanistan, that was transferable to other issues, I think we're starting to see play out in the polls. I mean, it's not just on foreign policy, the economy as well. So, look, Biden's down on all numbers because it became a trust issue on Afghanistan. It became a debacle, and I think that's a big part of the problem.
Yeah, only 42% approving of his handling of the economy. All right, David, we have to leave it there. Thank you.
Thanks, David.
You bet.
Well, a major rebuke of the FBI from the U.S. Senate today. Members of the Judiciary Committee blasting America's premier law enforcement agency. They say it failed to investigate claims of abuse by former gymnastics doctor Larry Nassar, and even accused the agency of trying to cover up its own misconduct. Jennifer Wishon has more.
The FBI's decision to sit on intelligence that Larry Nassar was molesting some of America's world-class athletes allowed him to continue abusing as many as 120 women and girls. It also happened to some for the first time after the Bureau was made aware of his crimes. Olympic gymnast Michaela Maroney informed the FBI of her sexual abuse in the summer of 2015, information the Bureau sat on for nearly a year and a half.
What is the point of reporting abuse if our own FBI agents are going to take it upon themselves to bury that report in a drawer? They had legal, legitimate evidence of child abuse and did nothing.
Maroney was joined in testimony by fellow gymnasts and survivors, including Simone Biles, the world's most decorated gymnast, who withdrew from most Tokyo Olympic events this year, citing mental duress.
To be clear, I blame Larry Nassar, and I also blame an entire system that enabled and perpetrated his abuse,
including the FBI's disregard for the victims.
It was like serving innocent children up to a pedophile on a silver platter.
The hearing follows an inspector general's report issued in July that found the FBI failed to pursue the case and then lied about its malfeasance. Just 2 weeks ago, with the Senate hearing looming, the FBI fired the agent who sat on Maroney's testimony. His boss, who even applied for a job with USA Gymnastics during the investigation, was allowed to retire.
These individuals betrayed the core duty that they have of of protecting people. They failed to protect young women and girls from abuse.
Both survivors and senators want to know why the agents haven't been prosecuted.
My hope is that the Department of Justice, which was invited today and has declined to appear, will match your courage by explaining why those lies by FBI agents did not lead to criminal prosecution and accountability.
And Director Ray says it's up to prosecutors as to whether or not the agents face charges. As one victim testified, more than 120 girls could have been spared if one adult had done the right thing. Jennifer Wishon, CBN News.
So disturbing. Thank you, Jennifer. Well, during Simone Biles' emotional testimony, she brought up Rachel Denhollander, the former gymnast who first raised the alarm about Larry Nassar's abuse.
And now an author, attorney, and advocate, Denhollander sat down with senior national affairs correspondent Heather Sells to share her journey.
At age 11, Rachel Denhollander watched as Dr. Larry Nassar helped injured gymnast Carrie Strug during the 1996 Olympics. So when she visited the renowned Michigan State doctor 4 years later for her own gymnastics injury, she assumed his sexual assault of her was legitimate medical treatment for pelvic issues. Nassar would abuse the teenager repeatedly, standing at the exam table to block her mother's view. Denhollander reported Nassar to her coach, who told her to keep quiet, citing the doctor's outstanding reputation. Then in 2016, she tried again, following a report on USA Gymnastics burying reports of abuse.
I was very embarrassed.
This time as a lawyer, she understood full well the powers she faced.
I saw the dynamics. If I speak out against Larry, I'm speaking out against a Big Ten university. I'm speaking out against an Olympic governing body, the sport that makes the most money in the Summer Olympics.
Denhollander talked first to a reporter and then to Michigan authorities. Her story emboldened other Nassar victims to come forward, and on their behalf, Denhollander called in court for a strong conviction against Nassar.
I am asking that when we leave this courtroom, we leave knowing that when Larry was sexually aroused and gratified by our violation, when he enjoyed our suffering, when he took pleasure in our abuse, that it was evil and wrong.
Then Denhollander delivered a stunning surprise when she told Nassar she was praying for his salvation.
I pray you experience the soul-crushing weight of guilt so that you may someday experience true repentance and true forgiveness from God, which you need far more than forgiveness from me, though I extend that to you as well.
Today, Denhollander says that moment followed years of wrestling with what had happened.
And I think when you're able to understand both the concepts of forgiveness and the concepts of eternal justice, and how much God hates sin, and how he comes back to defend and protect his children, and how final redemption comes, that frees you up as you heal to be able to want that, even for the worst of criminals.
She also credits the support of her husband.
And he was my safe place to talk or just to sit and be together.
Denhollander recounts her journey in the book, What is a Girl Worth? My story of breaking the silence and exposing the truth about Larry Nassar and USA Gymnastics. She says it's not just for survivors.
I wrote it for people who are walking alongside survivors or want to understand better, because all of us have survivors in our circle of friends. You may not know that yet, but all of us do.
She also wrote it for the church. Abusers target communities of faith, she says, which means leaders must respond carefully to accusations.
Survivors are always watching, and predators are always watching. They watch how you talk about abuse. They watch how you respond to other instances of abuse. And they know that's how much you really understand. That's how much you really care. That's what's going to happen if I speak up.
Denhollander never wanted abuse to become her issue, but she believes God placed her here for now. She wants church leaders to admit if they're not equipped to handle abuse and get necessary help. She also feels it's important for specific and detailed repentance if and when they mishandle reports. Denhollander says she expects no less from her children when they've done wrong.
I require my children to say, I am sorry that I did. and to identify specifically what they did and and to identify the damage that was done, and then to ask, how can I repair the relationship?
Den Hollander has 4 children. She wants them and their generation to know just how much they are valued. It's why she wrote a companion book for little girls. She wrestles with the fact that despite her best efforts to protect them, one of her children could also face abuse. It's important they know she'll always provide a safe place for them.
We treat their concerns like they matter, because I want them to know that what you're thinking and what you're feeling matters to Mommy, and I'm going to listen to you.
It's what Den Hollander wants for all victims, to be treated like they matter. Heather Sells, CBN News.
Having sex before you marry is a bad idea.
Don't tell me there's no such thing as gun violence.
That just depends on your definition of when life begins.
Watch Dan and Dale tackle trending topics that test your faith on the next Faith Wire. Monday night at 8:30 on the CBN News Channel. The Global Lane takes you around the world, providing facts over fiction.
What might rising trade and geopolitical tensions mean for you on the home front?
With over 45 years of experience, award-winning journalist Gary Lane brings you the truth from a global angle.
What about the issue of immigration?
World news analysis you won't see anywhere else.
And it's all right here on the Global Lane.
Thursday night at 8:30 on the CBN News Channel.
The Justice Department has asked a federal judge in Texas to temporarily stop enforcing the Lone Star State's new heartbeat abortion law. It bans the procedure after a fetal heartbeat is detected about 6 weeks into a pregnancy, outlawing most abortions in the state. In its filing, the department said the law prevents women from exercising their constitutional rights. Last week, the DOJ sued to have it declared invalid.
And joining us now, Tony Perkins, president of the Family Research Council. Tony, welcome. Great to have you with us this evening. What about this latest DOJ lawsuit? Do you think it stands a better chance than the one brought by the abortion clinics?
Well, first off, I think it's blatant hypocrisy, because the very day that the Department of Justice was taking this action was the same day that President Biden was announcing his vaccine mandate on the nation. So think about that for a moment. His Department of Justice telling the state of Texas that they could not protect the unborn, that they could not deny a woman a right to end the pregnancy, to take the life of another child, to take the life of a child, while at the same time telling Americans they had no choice over what to inject into their own bodies. Look, this is what politicizes this administration. No one can take what they say at face value, because they are ideologically driven with a political agenda. That's what we see in Texas. Look, Texas, other states pushing back on this pro-abortion administration. And I applaud Texas for a very creative and clever way of advancing the sanctity of human life.
Tony, the pro-life group Live Action said Google banned all of its online advertising. The group's leader claiming it is just further evidence of big tech censorship. Google responded saying it took down the ads for making unreliable claims. You care to weigh in here?
Well, you also have Google's taking the same action against a advertising firm out of Missouri that advertises for pro-life causes. Look, this again is big tech walking in lockstep with the left. And what they're doing is they're moving us from a society that has valued discussion, dialogue, debate, to a society, really to an Orwellian society that where free speech is lost completely. And that's what's happening before us. It's very, very disturbing.
Tony, to the California election last night, voters there rejecting the Republican effort to recall Governor Gavin Newsom. The state is overwhelmingly Democratic, but still struggles with high rates of crime, homelessness. Where does this leave the Golden State now?
Well, you know, California is kind of out there. In fact, I was out there about 3 weeks ago. It is a unique place. But look, let's put this in context. This is only the second time in history that they've had the recall of a governor. High threshold to get to that point. They put forth a pretty strong effort. It fell short, true. But the reason, I think we got to look behind what was really driving this, and this was the governor's overreach on the first wave of the COVID virus that was sweeping the country. Mm-hmm. He backed off on a lot of those stringent mandates during this recall. Will he put those forth again? Right. Will he begin the shutdowns? If so, this could affect Democrats in the midterms.
All right, FRC's Tony Perkins, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing your thoughts.
Great to be with you guys.
Thanks, Tony. And when it rains, it pours. Another tropical system leading to the threat of flooding. The latest on Nicholas next.
Want to be a part of a community that inspires your spiritual growth while winning prizes? The all-new MyCBN app. Connect with the community for prayer and encouragement. Track and set spiritual goals. Enjoy conversation starters with friends and family. And collect points to win prizes. The all-new MyCBN app. A great place to belong. Download the app at cbn.com/mobile.
Nutrition, exercise, essential oils, weight loss, and more. It's Healthy Living with Lori Johnson.
Talk about what's in this.
Join CBN Health reporter Lori Johnson to get the latest information from today's top health experts.
This is fantastic.
Find out what you need to know to live a healthier life. Watch Healthy Living Tuesday night at 8:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Too often, we carry baggage from our past. You know what it's like. It affects everything and everyone in our lives. It's always there, weighing us down and keeping us from achieving true happiness. But do you know God never meant for us to be trapped in the past? You can be free of your baggage. Learn how God's forgiveness leads to changed lives and new beginnings. Call the 700 Club.
Welcome back. Flooding a big concern as the remnants of once Hurricane Nicholas make their way across the South tonight.
A slow-moving system is especially concerning for a Gulf Coast still reeling from Hurricane Ida. Brody Carter joins us now with the latest. Brody?
John, Jenna, as the storm moves inland, severe weather and tornado warnings are now in effect. Floodwaters remain a concern and the threat could last through the end of the week. Although violent winds from Nicholas have died down, the now tropical depression still threatens more than 6 million along the Gulf Coast and Florida Panhandle.
I can tell you one thing, in this area, a lot of people pray, and evidently the prayer has been working.
Nicholas is the 14th storm named this year, dumping almost 10 inches of rain in Houston. Some areas saw twice that amount.
Bottom line is much of Louisiana, central and south Louisiana, is projected to receive a lot of rain.
Piles of debris amassed as far as the eye can see are still growing due to Hurricane Ida. Louisiana areas prone to flooding could see up to 20 inches of rain. The major concern now is drain clogging debris, leaving floodwaters nowhere to go.
When the water's already come up this much, almost to this cart path back here, you know, I'm scared. But I don't know what to do. What do I mean? We got new flooring? Do you start trying to pick up stuff?
I know that bracing for another storm while we're still responding to and trying to recover from Hurricane Ida is not the position that we wanted to be in. But it is a situation that we are prepared for.
Nearly 500,000 people were left without power from Hurricane Nicholas. Louisiana's battered power grid continues being restored with tens of thousands still in the dark. Meantime, the National Hurricane Center is watching out for 3 other disturbances forming in the Atlantic, 2 of which could become storms of concern. Jenna, back to you.
All right, Brody, thank you. A giant leap for space tourism. Still ahead, why tonight's launch is one for the history books.
Are you suffering from feeling tired or worn out during the day? Can you not turn off your brain at night? You are not alone. Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Bruce, the Sleep Doctor, and I've partnered with the Christian Broadcasting Network, and we're gonna bring you some unbelievable information that you can use tonight to get a better night's rest.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com to get your free copy of Protect Your Sleep today.
Nutrition, exercise, essential oils, weight loss, and more. It's Healthy Living with Lori Johnson.
Talk about what's in this.
Join CBN health reporter Lori Johnson to get the latest information from today's top health experts.
This is fantastic.
Find out what you need to know to live a healthier life. Watch Healthy Living, Tuesday night at 8:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Superbook fans, here's something else you'll love. Whoa! It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! Whoa!
No Super Falls, man.
Sorry, pardon me. Sorry, excuse me. Ouch!
Are you getting this?
Earn super points to win daily prizes, too. And so much more! Time to get back to my adventures. See you soon. It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
Welcome back. Well, tonight, SpaceX will launch a crew of 4 into orbit for a 3-day stint among the stars.
That is right. Unlike past trips to space, get this, Jenna, no one on board is actually an astronaut, making the mission crew the first of its kind composed fully by space tourists. Along for the ride, the billionaire funding the trip, 2 contest winners, 1 Air Force veteran, the other a licensed pilot and community college professor, and the youngest American in space, a 29-year-old cancer survivor who now works as a physician's assistant at St. Jude's. The 3-day mission, Jenna, has been dubbed Inspiration 4. I think that's a pretty good name.
Yeah, not bad. Down in Texas, remote Texas. All right, well, that does it for Faith Nation this evening.
Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you back next time.